All right. I'm telling you. Hi guys, Maria here from Maria Unleashed, and today I'm going to bring you a special guest. Sophie Muse is with us today, and she's going to talk about tarot. And I know some people might be like, I know I was, and I gotta say, it's just for me, it's just a really beautiful tool, just a tool. And sometimes I'm doing it a little bit playful, and I'm like, oh, let's see. And sometimes it's just really like, hey, just tune inside, what's going on, and it's a some people might say it's a little placebo. You know what? I don't care as long as it helps me. I'm super happy doing it and it doesn't hurt. It has no side effects. And that's why I wanted to bring on my friend, Sophie Muse, who's here today to just give us a little live session. So stick around. We're going to do it on the spot live and just show you, our audience, how to use it in real life. And also, just gonna talk a little bit about Sophie, how she actually got into it and how it helps her and how she integrates it into her daily life. So here we go. Sophie, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much, Maria, for inviting me. Very excited.
Yes. Yeah, me too, me too. And before we start, so Sophie and I, we just had a little chat as well, but so you guys know, we have a setup that has different cameras. So I'm gonna, I want to connect with you. I also want to connect with Sophie. So, I might be all over the place. I really try to just look straight into my camera, but of course, sometimes I just want to say hi and look at Sophie as well. So just so you know. All right, here we go. Everything is sorted. Sophie, tell us what's going on. How did you start using the cards and how do they actually help you in real life?
Well, the card started for me actually when I was a little girl because my mother, she had this beautiful tarot deck, which was a traditional tarot deck, but it was with the art from all the fairy tales. You know, the stories of the Brothers Grimm, Rapunzel and
Yes,
all
yes.
these. So the cards were with that art.
Yeah.
So what we would do is that we would like pick for our birthdays, we would pick a card and we would know, like we would talk with my mother about like what was available for us that year, how would we grow? Or what she would also do, which was a little bit sneaky, was like we would pick a card and she asked us like, okay, what do you see in the card? And then she actually knew what was going on with us by what we were explaining.
Oh.
So that was how I was introduced to it. And it was a little trick for my mom also to know what was happening to our inner world, no?
Yes. Yes.
And so since I was little, I got really used to see this kind of cards and to work also with this kind of tools, for it was normal. There was nothing woo woo about. Not as a tool of
Yeah. Yeah.
prediction. And she never taught me about how to use the cards as in like what the meaning was, but more to trust my own knowing and my own wisdom when I was looking at the cards. And I think it was 2019 when I was healing from quite a big challenge and change in my life. And that's when I was like, okay, now I would like to go and really learn more about what these cards mean and how I can work with them. So I started pulling tarot cards every day for myself because I was not feeling well. I was going through really big challenges. And the cards were kind of like giving me this little nudges of hope of like, what am I learning? Why is this happening? No? So they were giving kind of meaning through the more challenging experiences that I was going through. So for me, it's really for me a tool to navigate change, to give more understanding of where we are, what we're going through, what to let go of, so that's kind of a start of what tarot is for me.
Nice. I like it. And I like the tricks your mom used. Sneaky. But it's true. And what you said that your mom, okay, sorry, just so I'm now talking to my audience as well. So we have actually, Sophie and I, we have a mutual friend, Carolina, and she's so great. And she also likes to use these cards. And when I looked at them, so I was, like from scratch. I was introduced to it like okay, here you go. And Carolina is this very experienced, she is very intuitive as well. So for me, as a very like very very German in that sense, where I'm like, so now I'm picking a card, and then people do this like hovering around it, and I'm like, oh god, what's happening here? And so I really had to go from don't see it this woo woo strange stuff to hey, just watch her how she uses it, because she was just so natural, so normal. She was my or is my friend, and it's like it's not strange at all, right? And it's not this, I don't know, craziness about it. And the way she used it, I was like, it's so cool, because it really really helped her to just like you said, make decisions and view her life in a certain perspective, or get a new perspective on things. and and I decided to also use it, but as I said, I did it wrong. So she was always like, no, you're not doing it right. And I'm like, yeah, but I have to do it this way because I'm not getting your way, right? So I was like figuring out how can I use the cards in a way that really helped me. And what really helped me was to more or less not let the coincidence decide which card. I was always going through her deck and looking at card, and then always one or two cards would really stick with me, and I'm like, what does that card mean? And then she says, I don't know, here's a book, check it out. So I read through it, and I'm like, that is actually what's really like my internal dialogue. So for me, it was always I go through the deck and I let the card or my body respond to the card. So I look at it and I go like, I don't know, don't care. And then suddenly one card is like, yes, or no. And and Carolina was like, no, you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, I don't know, but it does work for me. So yeah, that is just the way I do it. And it reminds me a little bit of what your mom did. So just to see how you react to it, what you see in the card. And I am more like that too. So, instead of doing the whole thing, and I wish I could, it just doesn't work for me. I look at the card, I go through the deck, and I'm like, okay, which one is actually speaking to me and why? And then I take the menu and then I look at it and go like, oh, damn, that is actually an issue showing up in my life. Just an example. And then I just get a new perspective on how to, maybe take it from a different angle or look at it from just a, outside perspective. Just an example. So yeah, what would you say? Is that wrong?
That is so
Quote
lovely,
unquote.
Maria. No, it's there is no wrong way and there is no right way either. I love it what you're saying, that you're really like exploring it how it works for you. I also teach people to read tarot, and I call it like in a more intuitive way. And one of the ways is actually what I share with people is actually like that, to look at the cards and to pick a card where you feel that something happens. So you're saying you're feeling a sensation in your body. Yeah, your body is literally
Mm-hmm.
responding. One of the ways of how our intuition speaks is actually through our body. So it's one of the intuitive languages. So I think it's great. And then, for example, maybe when you see a card, somebody else, a whole story comes, so the intuition starts to speak through the mind. Or maybe you think of your grandmother when you see this, you see the cards and you're like, oh, that's interesting, so I think it's actually a great way also to get to know, get acquainted with the cards and to pick them. In tarot, very often people, when they want to have a reading, for example, they want to be surprised because they want to see something that they don't know yet. They want to be like, okay, give me something that I don't know yet. But when you turn the cards around, like what you do, you're actually more saying, okay, I choose what I'm ready for, and then as you then afterwards read the text about the card, you're actually opening up and seeing also, okay, what else is underneath there, so I think it's a great way. And I mean, one of the things is also that if we don't know much about tarot, is that we for example, what you do, no, you read the book, which is a great second step. But the first step, what you also do, is to look at the image, because the cards are full of symbolisms, colors, images that maybe we consciously don't know what they mean, but in our unconscious we do. And that's also why they are the language of symbols is understood by everybody around the world. Maybe you've heard about the work of Jung with the archetypes, all the studies that they have been doing with people all around the world about the dreams. It doesn't matter if you're born in Thailand or in the United States, or if you're from Alaska, or, in our dreams, we have similar kind of symbols. We have similar kind of images. And that is actually what the tarot is. It's the images that are being painted or drawn. They're being put on cards. And no matter where we are in the world, we will understand these images. So the thing is that we don't always understand it with our conscious mind. But when we look at an image, our unconscious does understand it. So something is already shifting. You could even just look at the card and then put it away and then see afterwards what information comes to you, instead of like having to know exactly what it means. But we can feel uncomfortable, no, because we would want to know. But there is already something happening by just choosing a card or by turning a card around. There is already a lot of power in that, because you work with you bring things from your unconscious to your conscious.
Yeah, I love that. And I like that you are so open, you let people be. I really appreciate that, because there are some other people out there. I've met actually one person in Germany who did that with a card, and it was so like, no, it is this way, and I mean, it's so typically German for me, but it's like, and that's why I'm like, no, don't push me into this. It doesn't, if I'm telling you it's not for me, trust me, then it's not for me, right? And I like when people like you come and say, hey, that's cool, as long as it works for you. If it's, if you write with your left hand or the right hand, it doesn't really matter, as long as the result is, satisfying. I like that a lot. So for me, that's always a green flag when I hear people, talk the opposite way of, no, it is what I'm preaching is correct, this is the only way. That's always for me the red flag. And it's like, okay, no, in this case, it's not about finding deeper meaning in symbols. That's a different story. So I really, really like that about you.
Everybody has their way, Some people need structure. Some people need everything free and loose, Some people love that they're being taught what to do and how to do it and what it means. And other people love it that it's free. And I think that's also the beauty of when we work also with the different tools and how we choose to navigate life also, no? That's why we're all choosing different paths in life.
For sure, for sure. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. What would you say are questions that the card deck cannot answer? Not in that way. So we talked about the very specific questions. Some people come and have a mind and it's like, when will I get married? Stuff like that. So that's probably a little bit hard to tell, no?
Well, I do always say that there are different kind of tarot readers. And, okay, so how I'm going to explain this easy. So there are different kind of readers, and there are for sure intuitives and psychics and tarot readers that really have the prophetic intuition very well developed, and they can read things about the future. There are. And the only thing is that it can also only be read in the present moment, and things can change. So it is difficult to say when it is exactly going to be. It can also be that while you receive that information, you're going to take another path and things are changing, because there is a part destiny in our life, but there is also a part of free will where we continuously changing the ingredients, we're changing the components of our life. So I do think that there are people that can say that, but it is never fixed. I have received myself readings of great psychics, and they have told me things about the future, and very often it didn't turn out to be exactly like that, or maybe it still has to happen because timing is so different. Because once we start to go into the field of the unconscious, timing is different. We work here in the conscious reality, the timing is very specific. But when we start to work in our more in the intuitive field, in the unconscious field, it's not so specific because it goes with different rules, So that was one. And then, I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So the questions. So one of the top questions that people, of course, ask is about love. And they want to know, like, so for example, something that people ask me often is, will I ever find love? And
Okay.
as I'm saying, there might be people that can go and read for you that question. But my answer is then, what is it going to help you if I am going to answer this question for you with a yes or a no? If I'm going to say no, we're going to look in the cards, whether it's possible or
Yeah.
not. Yeah. Leaving that out of the equation, like whether it's possible or not to see whether this person is going to find love or yes or no. I'm going to read the cards, and then I'm going to say, you're never going to find love. So now what? I mean, what is that going to give to your life, you know? So
Yes.
what for me is always very important is the question is a very important ingredient to any tarot reading. And it's about making questions that are actually empowering and that can actually give you insights with what you can do. You can translate into something practical into your life. So for example, if somebody comes and that person is alone for a very long time and kind of is losing hope, right? Because from there is that question coming, like, will I ever find love? Because somebody feels hopeless because hasn't been finding anybody to connect with. So I would say, like, okay, let's look into what is it that your heart needs at the moment. What does your heart need in order to be open for a relationship? Because then you can very often see, for example, that somebody hasn't been letting go of a previous relationship, or maybe there is a connection to the parents, to the ancestry, you know, what they're living through, or maybe the person is so consumed in the work, you know, that there is actually no space for a relationship. So,
Yeah.
and I find that more empowering. So the question, you can ask anything you want, but the question is, do you want to give your power away then to something else, whether it's the tarot or whether it's somebody reading for you? Or do you want to make a question that actually empowers you and say, okay, hey, this is how I can do something with?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting that it's always the big love thing. It's funny because that was never on my mind, to be honest, but I was just going through it. Like, was I ever wishing, like, when will I find love? And I must say, no, I have not. And you know why? Because I was always focused on, I want to be happy with myself. And if this love never comes around, I still want to be at a point where I love my life and I'm very happy in it. And if love comes around, then that's just the extra cherry on top. That's how I always viewed it. So I made sure that I have a very good relationship with myself and, you know, be ready also because I want to be a good partner as well. So I have to work on myself as well, you know. So that was my, you know, long journey in my 20s. I allowed myself to just really go out and explore and see what I like, who do I want to be, you know. And I went for that one, and I must say it treated me well, and especially I wasn't afraid of being alone because you are never really alone. You know, that some people, when I travel and people come, oh, but you are alone. I'm like, no, I'm not. There are many people in that country. I don't know. So yeah, maybe that's also like, I don't know, but I really connect with that, what you just said. And I can only just recommend it to anyone as well. Be happy with yourself. And, you know, then you kind of let go of the pressure of wanting to find someone right now and to fill a hole that might not be filled by someone else. So that's my take on it as well. It's funny. What did I always want to know? I probably, what did I always ask? Oh, for me, it's like, where should I go next? That was always my question. When, like, when I was with Carolina or other friends, I'm like, okay, where am I needed next? Where should I go? Tell me now. So that was literally always my question, more geographically. Where should I be? Where must I go now? Where must I go next? Yeah, that was always my question. Funny.
I often have people also that ask me that when they want to move. It's like, okay, could you give me some clues on what the place is where I should live, But then
Yeah.
again, it's like this thing of like, in case if people say it like this, keep the whole field open, okay, give me some clues. And yes, you can, you can see maybe with the cards, like, is it more fire, or is there more water, or is it more earth, or, you can, and there are definitely also readers that can like maybe say more specifically, like, I see you there. But you can also do like, because when you ask a question like that, is you probably have already some idea of places that you would like to go to, or that are interesting for you. So I find that very interesting. Like, have a look at what are the places where you would like to go. And then you pull a card for each of these places, and you can see like, okay, what is like the learning if I go there, what is my growth opportunity when I go and choose that place. And then you can see by the images of what is available by choosing that place. So when you see the cards, it can help you in the decision making of like, hey, that looks interesting, like I have for example, like I have a 10 of Pentacles, so it's actually very like abundant, and I can see that maybe there is actually the opportunity for me to build more long-lasting structures and actually build a business that is actually for the long term and more sustainable, So whereas actually, if you see that you have a 9 of Swords, for example, for another place, and you're like, okay, so this place is really going to trigger me in my mental pattern. So on the one hand, it can be something negative because maybe I'm going to be really worried and there's going to be a lot of uncertainty, but I can see that it's more my mind. So this place is going to trigger that in me, that I actually have to change my perspective. So not always also that negative cards are necessarily meaning a negative experience. Yes, it could mean we're going to have challenges, but sometimes, or actually always, the challenges that we have help us also to transform and to change something within ourselves.
Yeah. Okay. Is that how you would like? I want to just give a practical example. So let's say I have a job opportunity. I don't know, abroad or not. It doesn't really matter. So if you are faced with that decision, would you go to your deck and what would you do? A new
I'm being
job is
offered,
coming.
yeah.
Yeah, a new job. Do I take it? Oh, I might have to move. Should I do it or not?
So I would definitely, when I'm being faced with a choice, I love to go and consult the tarot, because I feel just more comfortable, because sometimes it's a combination of pairing your logical mind and your intuitive part. So if you're having a choice, you can look into the logical things of why this would be a good choice to make. But sometimes there are
Mhm.
also some facets that you're not sure about. So then the tarot is a really great tool to actually bring a little bit more clarity to the aspects that you're not sure about. So, for example, if it's being the question like, okay, am I gonna stay in the job that I have now, or am I gonna go for this new job um, that's being offered? Yet it demands of me that I'm gonna move. For example, I need to go to another country, right? So there's like some dynamics in that you're not really sure about. Then I would pull some cards for both of the options. So I would, for both of the options, pull card of like, okay, what is my attitude towards this choice? What is the opportunity for me there to grow? What is the potential challenge? What should I do? What shouldn't I do? And what would be the outcome? And then you have kind of like a clear overview of, you can look at the images and you're like, oh, hey, if I just look at the people or the symbols and the colors, that calls me more than the other, and then you can go
Mm.
deeper into, of course, of like what the meaning of the cards actually is.
All right. Can we do this for this year, like 2026?
Yes.
Just to
Well,
see.
not
I would love that. I love that.
well. What do you mean? Because we can look at any way, like what is for the collective available for us in 2026, which you do based on a combination between tarot and the numerology. So we can do that, and then maybe later we can go into a specific question where we can pull some cards.
Yeah, I love it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Because for everybody, I mean, people who are tuning in today is probably they are like, like us, probably into it and just want to learn more. But I read it everywhere these days, like 2027, huge cosmic shift, this and that. And I just like to look at it. As I say, like, I don't want to panic. I don't want to, I just like to calmly look at it. Hey, like, what could it be? And then again, like, I love that you prepared a little bit of what's going on this year and how we can just use it as a tool. Again, it's just a friendly tool we can use to make a little bit more sense of it.
Yeah, because besides like that you said, no, you can pull cards blindly. You can pull it in the way that you like, where you look at the images. But another way how you can work with the tarot is based on numerology. So you can use the numbers in order to come to calculate a number between 1 and 21. So, for example, 2026 is a 2 plus 2 plus 6, which means it is a 10. So in the tarot, we can have a look at the cards that are a number 10 to see, okay, that is actually the growth opportunity, the learning and the obstacles for this year to come. So in the tarot, that is this card, the Wheel of Fortune.
Okay.
And actually, if you are thinking this year of changing, then 2026 is definitely a year where change is in your favor, because the Wheel of Fortune is about change and evolution. It's about expansion. It's about really how our choices create our future. No? So we can see in the card that there is like a wheel, and this is the wheel of life, the wheel of karma, the wheel of that the decisions we make, they create actually a consequence. No? So we have to take responsibility for the choices that we've made in the past, but we are also free to make new choices, to create new futures, no? So that we can actually, instead of staying in the same spiral, or in the same circle, we can actually move into a spiral to go to like a next level and change things around. In the traditional tarot, the card looks like this.
Cute, I love it. Is there a difference, like you just said, traditional tarot? Is there a difference with different decks?
This is the Rider. The second one is the Rider-Waite Tarot, which is one of the traditional lines. And then newer artists have inspired their art based on the Rider-Waite or on the Crowley or on the Marseille. So depending on who their inspiration was, the imagery changes a little bit, but there is a lot of overlap actually. There's a bit of difference, but there's a lot of overlap.
Okay. And I've seen the first that I noticed actually on the first card, the bigger card, was the spider.
Yes. The spider. The spider is the weaving the web of life. You like spiders, Maria?
And no, but you know what? I made friends with them in the Caribbean. It's actually my host. Like I hated, like in the beginning, I was really like, make it go away like this. And then she was like, no, but they're our natural anti-mosquito weapon. And I'm like, oh, smart. So I made friends with my little spider in the corner and I said, listen, you're allowed to sit there and you get to eat all the mosquitoes and just, bon appetit. Just please stay over there. And she always stayed over there in her corner, always. And we coexist happily. So, me and the spider. So, yeah.
I mean, it's a good it's a good also what, because the meaning of the Wheel of Fortune is embracing also the duality of life, you know, the things that are uncomfortable and comfortable, and actually acknowledging that they're all a part of life, right? That they
Yeah.
all, you
Yeah.
know, even the dynamics, all the dynamics that are there in our lives are part of a greater whole. No, so like you're like the spider as well. Like even though the spider makes you feel uncomfortable, the spider has its purpose also, no, and has its
Mm.
benefits and is positive. And in many cultures all around the world, the spider is being seen as being the weaver of the web of life, no? So how everything actually is connected. So it's also like if we're becoming more aware this year as a human collective, how we're all connected, no? How we're all connected not
Mm.
only to each other, which we'll probably will be seeing also with technology. No, we're going to be even more connected. It's going to be faster, but also how we're more connected to the nature and to the other beings.
Yeah.
And it's also, the Wheel of Fortune is very much a year of coincidences and synchronicity. So if you're interested in like developing more your intuition, then this is also a great year for that. Because if you're opening up more your awareness to how things are connected, you know, to the serendipities in your life, then this is great in the Wheel of Fortune year, which, for example, is wonderful for people that want to go abroad, live abroad, change their environment, you know, go and live in a new country, because you're out of your comfort zone. So you have to be more aware of the little signs and signals, no, that are guiding you.
Mm.
Should I turn left or right? Where am I going to
Yes.
live? You meet new people. So this is all very favorable in a Wheel of Fortune year. It's about being flexible, being adaptive, accepting, not being like trusting that sometimes we have to let go of things, you know. And one of the shadow sides of it is rigidity. Is like when we're really, you know, we get afraid, we can maybe feel like victims of like, wow, everything in my life is changing and I feel so uncomfortable about it, you know, and we try to hold on. And that's something that can actually create lots of challenges and conflicts as we are in a Wheel of Fortune year, because it's super dynamic. It's about change, 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 change.
Mm.
And it's about also where even maybe history is going to repeat itself, you know, even on a larger scale for ourselves in our own lives. It could be that we're going to meet parts of ourselves that we have met before and we're like, am I here now again? You know, but to realize that maybe now we see it from a different level, but also we're going to see that on a world level, you know, in the world with the politics, that's there's going to be a repetition of history, so that we can actually take a different stance towards it.
Mm.
And if people are like interested, for example, in like if you feel stuck in the way how, you know, it's difficult to move forward, because it's definitely a year to move forward and to expand and to be in motion. Then also like working on your relationship with your family is a really good one, which doesn't necessarily need to mean like, okay, just be like all friends with your family, but like doing more like work as, for example, family constellations or things like that is a really good year for that also. And for the body is like to be more taking care this year of your digestive system, because our digestive system is like constantly assimilating all the changes and no
Mm.
digesting all the constant evolutions and the change. So it's definitely a part of our body we should be more taking care of, or that we could also see in the trends, no, of like that more people will be focused on the digestion and how to improve it and how to take better care of it. The other part of the body is the nervous system, which I mean makes sense, of course, no, with all the changes. To be more, yeah, to be more tending to our nervous system, giving it space to calm down, you know, as so that we're not
Mm.
all the time in the flight or fight mode. But also we're prone to more stress this year, you know, so, and everything that comes to with that stress. So maybe insomnia or vertigo or this kind of things could be that there are like more health things that can come up in a Wheel of Fortune year, because it is stress. It is a stress. It is full. It's a lot, you know, And it's about finding that center, this example or this symbolism, like when you have a hurricane, if you find yourself in the eye of the hurricane, it's pure silence in there, no? And everything else is being distracted around. So that's also a bit of the Wheel of Fortune, like a lot of changes so that we really step into our center and that we really stay there. We don't even want to step out of our center because it will be a mess, No, we move and we go because you're in the hurricane, so you move, but we are strong in our center. So that's the card which represents the big chapter that is opening up and the big energy that is available for us.
All right. Can I ask, how many cards does a tarot deck have? Like, sorry, I don't know. I just checking. So this one was number 10.
This is number 10.
How many cards do?
So we have 0 till 21, which is the cards of the major arcana, which is basically the journey that our soul makes in our lives. So that are 22 cards. And then you have 4 different elements, which I can tell you also a bit more about for this year to come, because not only we have the big chapter, but we're continuously creating life through the 4 elements. So basically we're continuously doing alchemy. And I think that's really cool. Also what tarot shows us is that we are alchemists and that we're continuously working with these 4 elements. The 4 elements are fire, water, air, and earth. And we're playing with them all the time. And in the deck, you have 13 cards 14 cards that represent each of the 4 elements. So you have 22 and then 14 times 4.
Okay. All right.
So for example,
yes.
Yeah. You want to ask?
No, for example, I was just gonna ask. Okay, no, I need like an example.
Yeah. Okay. So we have this whole theme of the Wheel of Fortune, right? So let's get into what the element of fire, what that means for the element of fire. The element of fire is our courage. It's our willpower. It's like that initiation of spirit, no? That spark, that passion, that desire that we have. So that's one of the elements with what we create our life. When we have this initial nudge to go and do something or to start a business or to change or and then we have to take action on that. So what we see, this is the 10 of the element of fire. And we can see actually that there is going to be, with regards to that part of ourselves, kind of an exhaustion. We're going to be kind of we're going to realize maybe this year that we have accumulated so much responsibility on our shoulders, which we are perfectly capable of carrying. But it's kind of we're going to ask ourselves is this really worth it? We can see, for example, the figure is not really able to see, it's moving forward and it's capable of moving forward, but is not really capable of seeing what the path ahead is because it's so many responsibilities in front. So it could be that with regards to our internal fire, we're going to be experiencing more fatigue. We're going to be more tired, more exhaustion of okay, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to carry this all alone. Why should I? And it's about recognizing what our limits are and being able to ask for help and to let go of some of the responsibilities without feeling then as a failure. Is it's a 10. So a 10 means that it's an end of a chapter. So it's an end of a way of how we have taken action. It's a way of how we have acted upon our desires. It's a way how we have shown our willpower and courage into the world. And we're ending a chapter of okay, now I've done it like that, but I see the strain that it gives to me. Now I want to go and do it differently. So that's, for example, for the elements of fire. But then we also
Okay.
have the water. And the water is our relationships, and it's our
Oh.
connection to our emotions and to our intuition. And
Oh,
the
yes.
element of water is also something we can create our life with, no? Because we have a rich emotional world and we relate to other people. And what can we see for the element of water? Which is actually very interesting, because here we can see when there's like swans and, they're like cuddling, and there's like a rainbow
Yes.
of flowers, and it's beautiful. So we can
Yes, it
actually
is.
see
Yes. I
there
take
is
the water
like,
card.
so there is kind of like this year, it's available to us to feel this like soul fulfillment, and to really feel the richness of our relationships that we have. It could also be that we say to let go of certain relationships where we don't feel fulfilled, where we don't feel that there is really like a heart to heart connection, or that really gives us something more than just the superficial. But we feel more safe and we feel more supported by the people around us. And it's also what you said, Maria, about like being able to love yourself, or taking care of yourself, and really like that love, and that relating to other people comes also of creating on a daily basis happiness for ourselves, and being grateful and having compassion. And also it's very much a year of sharing our inner joy with others, to really to know, it's like, wow, I'm so happy about this, like it feels so good, but it feels even better if I share it with others. So
Yes.
that's one with the water. But a little shadow, because every card, and we as humans, we have big shadows also, but the shadow of it is could be that we can see this year an idealization of happiness, where we're just like, we totally make it into some kind of like illusion or cloudy bubble, where which could be the shadow side of it, where we're depending too much on others. So it's good to see where we are, and to know that this is the opportunity where we can really create long lasting, heartful, fulfilling relationships this year.
All right.
You're ready for more?
Yes.
Because
What
then
is,
we
what
have
is, yes, we have two more, right?
we have two more, yeah. Then we have the mind, our favorite. No, and we can see that our mind is going to be very happy this year. The mind is also coming to the end of a chapter, and we can see what happens when we overthink. And we can see actually what happens when we have all these limiting thoughts and belief patterns. And, like we can see that the caterpillar is being stabbed basically, and all these knives, all these swords are actually our thoughts, our own conditionings, our limiting beliefs. And it really gives us an opportunity of seeing the world differently. It's almost like if this year we have it's available to us to come to the realization that we no longer want to fight against all those thoughts, that we have, that are so limiting and so constraining and so painful also, because we can really hurt ourselves, with the way how we think. And to no longer fight that, to no longer um, feed it also, no, to kind of like surrender to it, and to experience also what the pain is of those thoughts that we have. And as we surrender to that pain that is below these thoughts, that's actually when we open up to change. That's when we can actually, something clicks in ourselves, and we can shift our perception, we can shift our mindsets. And it's interesting because in the Rider-Waite, it's this one here, you can see it's a dead person, And we can see that there is the night, but there is also already the sunrise is coming, no? So there is, like,
Yes.
as we have that realization, there is already new opportunities on the horizon. But he also has, here, he has the mudra, the Varun mudra in the hand, which is like the cure of all. So it's like, it's very much a year to pay attention to our mental exhaustion and our immune system. And because there is, this card really shows that that could be one of the major challenges of this year, you know, that we're just like totally exhausted and I cannot do it anymore. But it is in that moment of exhaustion and surrender that this new perspective, that this new horizon comes, that this new, this new vision. And it has also a lot to do with our self-confidence, you know, because our limiting beliefs, the way how we talk to ourselves really can lower our self-esteem, and can therefore, maybe we don't go and take the leap for what we really want, you know, what we feel in our heart. Or like the example you had, like with the job offer, for example, no, like when you maybe have to go and move to a new country, like it could be our self-esteem that says, okay, no, I'm safer here because I already know, instead of like, if we trust that we can take the leap, you know, that's actually when we can make that choice. And this mudra with the hands, which is like this, is actually helping us also with our self-esteem on a physical level to boost that. So that's a really good intention for this year, is to really work on our self-esteem, to have a healthy self-esteem.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, but I could also, I mean, we are still traveling, but so all the topics you brought up, I can literally feel them globally. So I was always like, okay, maybe it's just Germany, maybe it's Germany and Spain. And then suddenly it's like, no, it's everywhere. Everywhere it shows up, and it's like, damn. You know, there's no escaping it, because back in the day it was so nice. I was just like hopping on a plane, you know, getting out in Cape Town, doing my thing, and then let it, you know, calm down in Europe. And then I make my way back, and easy. But now it's like, it doesn't matter where you go, it is everywhere.
Yeah.
So it is intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my, oh my. Yeah.
And it's also that when you would take yourself somewhere else, in the beginning, it would feel all very different. But at some point, you would hit the same challenges that you would have in the place where you come from, no? So, but now you don't even have that little space of idealization or fantasy of like, no, it's different here. No, now it's just immediately, you're still there.
Exactly,
you're still the same.
exactly,
You still have to face the same things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is intense. It really is. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, that's why I do love, I must say. So I just told you earlier how beautiful it is. So we are in Montenegro at the moment, and it's like fairy tale land for me at least. And I must say it helps so much for me to just, you know, when this chaos hits, so I'm not looking at the news, like I don't even bother anymore. And just to go out into this fairy tale land is for like, oh yeah, you know what? The world is perfectly fine. Everything is perfectly fine. It's us who's like, I don't know what's going on, but it's like, okay, cool. So for me, it's more like a quiet zone. It's come here and chill zone, you know, and I'm like, I'm very, very grateful for it. But as soon as you step back into society and have all the people and the aggression, oh my God, oh my God, it all goes to shit. Like literally, I like sometimes I'm like, can we just camp here? Can we just squat here in the mountains? Isn't that sad? But then what you said, you know, the problems, they don't just dissolve by going into the woods. So it's like, okay, how do we handle it then? How do we handle it better? And in a
Yeah.
very sane way. Like, you know, what you said, like there's no point in being all aggressive and exhausted, because then what? Then what? You know? So for me also, it's my challenge to just even if it's rough, you know, the waves are coming, and just, okay, relax, it's gonna be fine. I've handled it many times before, and I will handle it this time. It's gonna be fine. But sometimes I'm like, oh my God, Maybe I should just squat in the mountains. I don't know. Mm.
Well, it's good to have also that combination, no, of like where you have moments where you can be in nature and you can recharge and, you know, nourish yourself and tap into that calmness and that presence. And I always say, like, in nature, we find our true nature, you know, and we really
Mm.
connect to who we really are, because nature just is, you know, nature doesn't have any
Mm.
judgment. Nature
Yeah.
grows from a seed into its fullest potential, you know, there is no deviations.
Mm.
Nature is. And then when we are into the society, because there's a part of us that wants that also, because I also see that everything around us is also a reflection of ourselves, you know. So for example, things that even that happen in the world that really touch us, you know, that we really feel triggered by, is because also there is an inner dynamic that is being touched by that. You know, there is a part of our own story, of our own experiences that is mirrored by the dynamics that are happening inside of the world or in the world, you know. So I also see it as a really important that when we feel those triggers, and it's not only, wow, the world is like such a mess. Yes, there are horrible things that are happening, you know, and we cannot unsee them anymore. You know, it's like it's going to be only intenser and we're not able to unsee, because before you could maybe look away, but now we cannot. But it's also, that gives us also the opportunity to also look inside of ourselves of like, okay, what part of me is reflected by that? What do I do? What's my own behavior? How am I not treating myself well? Or, you know, we can go into more deeper themes with that. But I think that's something very important where we can then take responsibility and also feel how that we can actually contribute something to the world by also looking at ourselves and not feel a victim of that, what is happening at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And in your you I've seen online that you started your tarot sessions in Palma, in Mallorca. And is that like topics you discuss there? Like how are you, what are you doing there in your little corner?
So my vision is that everybody should, like, you know, we go to school and we learn how or we learn from our parents how to speak. And then we go to school and we learn mathematics and we learn how to write. And, you know, we learn these things. But when did they teach us to listen to our intuition? You know, like,
Mm.
yeah, maybe me, I had a mother who was comfortable with that. And she made me feel comfortable to listen to my intuition. Some people can have traumatic experiences that just opens up their channels and they cannot unsee. Some people get born with it, but actually we are all intuitive, you know,
Mm.
and I feel like we're kind of like, as humanity, we're walking on one leg while we have two, basically, because we're walking on the leg of the mind and we don't
Mm.
walk on the leg of the spirit. And our soul is continuously communicating to us all the time. So my vision is to create spaces where we can practice and where we can develop our intuition. And now with the Tarot Club in Palma, I do this twice a month, and I also do it online, where we look into topics like this, like for example, self-esteem. No, it's such an important topic, or how to make important decisions in our lives. You know, like, or we also do readings for the collective. We sit around the table and we all pull cards and we're doing a reading of like, what is it that the collective needs at the moment, and how does that reflect also something of myself? Like for me, that are really, yeah, important topics that I love to share with people. And then to trust also the intuitive knowing that everybody has, to listen to that, no, to be with each
Mm.
other around the table and to listen to each other and to not ridicule each other for your intuitive insights,
Yeah.
because a lot of people are afraid, for example, to share what comes through their intuition, because it's like, oh yeah, but how do I know if it's real? So it's
Mm.
actually a place of like, yeah, but let's practice that and
Yeah.
see what comes through and not judge it. And then, as you said in the beginning, like, it cannot do any harm, no? So we just
Mm.
listen to it, we listen to each other, and then we go into our world and we see how that changes us, or how does it move us, or what happens?
Definitely. I actually practiced it back in, I can't remember when I first really paid attention to it, like I would say 10 years ago, where I just dared myself to like, hey, trust yourself a little more. Because I've noticed that I was in Berlin and I was getting out of a train, an area I didn't know, I was meeting someone. And my body was literally, going like I knew the way already, and I was going out, and my mind then stopped. And it's like, no, where am I going? Oh wait, let's check again. No, it's probably this way. And then I walked out, and then 10 minutes later, it turned out I was going the right way from the beginning without even thinking about it. I was just like going, and it was right, but I questioned myself literally every step. And I've noticed that I'm like, dude, that's not good. So I really started paying more attention. And it happened so often. But now I'm better. I don't want to say I'm a pro, but I'm definitely better at it and I'm more aware.
And it's so much more fun, no? When you pay attention to
Yeah.
like the little signs and things, life is just more fun. It's just, you bring more joy into the day, even when things are challenging. You have heaps of difficulties as you're traveling around the world and things, no? But like,
Yeah.
you can have, if you get like all this help and these little nudges, you're not alone. You're always being guided in some way, no?
Yeah.
And you can have a little
Yeah.
laugh also.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And also, I like what you said about they're afraid of saying it wrong or doing it wrong. Where I'm always like, when I explain like learning a language to people, I'm like, listen, if imagine if or I want to do a job, but I'm not sure if I can, and then I'm like, yeah, then just go back to the other or find a new one. I don't know. Life goes on, and they are so afraid of making a mistake. And I always tell them, just go back to your childhood. Imagine you were not allowed to walk wrong, to fall down, to say the words incorrectly. No one would walk, no one would speak. It's just part of the journey. What do you do as a child? Do they? But here's the thing, people don't say, that's wrong, that is wrong, and you didn't do that. No, they're happy. They're like, yay. And then they cheer you on and they do it again. Okay, now say it again. It's okay, say it again. But, it's cute. But when you are grown up, it's not cute anymore. And people, they have no patience with it. They just wanted to, like, function. That's always a word in Germany. Like, you have to function. I'm like, oh, okay, do I? Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's so important. And I always like, what? It doesn't matter. Failure is part of the process. And if you don't fail, then it's literally because you don't try.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
nothing. Like, I'd rather fail and learn, and that's it. All my big lessons I got from failing big time. But instead of just giving up and calling it a day, I say, okay, lesson learned, let's do it again, but better. And
Hmm.
that's how I just climb my mountains. I don't know, it for me, it feels better. I mean, I can just beat myself up about how it was wrong and how that was, or I'm like, you know what, it's cool. Like, I don't know. It goes on, it's fine. And as I said with my friend Carolina, I'm like, she does it her way, I read the card my way, and we perfectly coexist. It's like, what is it to me how she does it or how I do it? It's like, so what? It's okay, just happily coexist, it's fine.
Hmm. And that taps actually
Mm.
also nicely into the card of the 10 of the earth, which is about work, and it's about money, and it's about more the physical things of life, which is actually because here you can see in this card, these are the three sisters, which is the pumpkin and the pea and the corn, and they grow
Mm.
really well together in nature. They support each other. They have
True.
completely different fruits, vegetables, no, but they actually, by their differences, is how they create a perfect structure and being together. And we have the bees here also. And that's also something very important, is like what we're going to build this year. Like also if you're thinking about like building a business, is a lot about collaboration and working with people with different kind of skills, but even transgenerational, like different generations coming together. And it's very much this need of like building in that way long lasting structures, so that that businesses or society will be more focused on sustainability and more with a vision of like, okay, how are the next generations going to live from this? Which the shadow side of it could be, what we can also see is that people can be very traditional and say, wow, this is my corner and this is what I'm going to save, you know, like, I mean, like look at the politics, for example, like the extreme things that are happening, is a shadow side of this. But the more lighter side of it, which is what is available for us, is really like building things together. And that's also interesting because if we look at our more feminine principles, which is the water, our emotions, intuition, relationships, and the feminine is also the earth, is really our activity, our creation. We see there is a collaboration, there is relationship, there is working together, and we can see that it's actually leading to very rich and abundance. Whereas if we look at the masculine principles, which is the fire and the air, we can see actually too many cards. We can actually see individuals collapsing under the force of their fire, of their willpower, and collapsing under the force of their mind, you know. So we can really see that what's very beneficial and that can really lead us to expansion this year is really tapping into our emotions, into our intuition, really collaborating and really having that vision of building something which is not only for ourselves, but the joy of sharing that with others and creating structures, like really building foundations where we incorporate different people, different cultures, different generations, and different skills to come together. I think it's a good thing to take in mind, keep into account, you know, as we build our businesses, as we make our choices, to really ask ourselves, like, okay, who is benefiting from this? Only me, or how can I share this with more people?
Yeah. Yeah. So important. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I love that, especially on Mallorca, well, in Mallorca, I love the community and especially the community you have, Carolina, as well. And then you guys invited me in and it was so much fun to just, be part of it. And I love to see how people are really helping each other out. And I loved it. Instead of being, coming from a more jealous side, or, oh, she's having success now, I have to, I don't know, sabotage it and stuff. And it's not happening. It's just this very beautiful coexistence of so many different creatives helping each other out. And I love it. Like, for me, Mallorca is a very special place in Europe where this is actually happening. It's just really, really nice. And again, I was so happy to have met you all. And yeah, I don't know, I just really always come back a little bit more inspired. And yeah, just, I don't know, it feels good. It feels always very good to be around you.
Thank you.
Hmm. So yeah, as I said earlier, I'm really excited to be back in Mallorca, and I'm definitely gonna see you at the cafe. So I'm gonna see you outside the cafe as well, but I definitely want to go and just experience that live session as well. So I'm very excited for that. Really, really
Yeah,
cool.
it is really great
But you
to come
said,
together, and
oh, yeah,
to people from different backgrounds and to share and to see each other as equals. You know, I feel that that's something really that we can also practice more. No, to really come together with people from different countries, different cultures, different backgrounds,
mm,
different kind of jobs, and practice to listen to each other, even if we don't agree.
yeah, exactly. Definitely. It always challenges me, actually. So I actually like when people say, well, no, but look at it from this angle. And it's completely the opposite, because they challenge me to really look, and go outside of my box to see what they're seeing. So it's important, I would say. And so you do that twice a month in Palma. And then you said you also do it online. So you have one session a week, and then every other week it's online, and then the other at the cafe.
I do twice a month. I do the cafe, the tarot club, where people can learn to read tarot. And then also twice a month, I do the Tarot Club online. I'm going to start now the 19th of March, where we're going more into like, what is the growth opportunities of 2026, deeper than what we've been doing now in this conversation, and mostly practicing. And and I do also every week I do readings, either in the beautiful nature or in Palma with a great cup of coffee, to also accompany people when they go through change, because to get some insights on what to choose, which direction to go to, and help to translate that information that comes from their own soul through the cards.
I love it. So so people can find you. So where in Palma are you based twice a month?
In Orígenes Café.
Okay.
In Santa Catalina.
In Santa Catalina. Okay, cool. Oh, nice. I'm looking forward to that place because I don't know that cafe. It looks very cute, like very cool.
You will like it. It's very nice. It's so cool because it has a great community vibe. A lot of people, they are recurring clients that come there, and people really have it as their little living room, basically,
Nice.
And it's a lot of people that work, for example, that are digital nomads, or like that work from home. They go actually to the cafe and they all sit around the table there, and they work for a few hours. Like, it has a really great vibe, and it has they have a great selection of tarot cards. So because they have the owners of the cafe have also a great passion for tarot, so that's also how we got in contact. So it's kind of like
awesome.
Esoteric coffee corner.
I love that. Okay, cool. And your online classes, which start the 19th of March, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Where can we find you online?
So that's going to be through my Instagram, and then you can join, and we're going to do Zoom sessions twice a month.
Cool. Nice one. And would you say when people start reading tarot, would you recommend a certain deck? Because for instance, I don't have one. So if I want to join you, it probably makes sense to get one, at least online to get one. Is there anything you can recommend, or say, hey, I would start as a beginner, start with this one?
Well, anyway, if you want to learn tarot, I would anyway get a deck. And because then also, if you learn things, you can keep practicing.
Yes.
And I would say get a deck that you feel inspired by, the artist, the images, the colors that you like. And you could also do get an oracle deck, but if you have the tarot, you work with a certain system, which makes a bit more sense with the Tarot Club, because then we go into certain parts of the system which you don't have with an oracle deck. An oracle deck is actually complete freedom of the artist, whereas the tarot deck is based upon the tarot structure. But I'm not so much somebody of like, get this deck to learn it well. No, pick a deck that you love, that you feel inspired to, that you want to open up. You love to look at the images, you like, for example, Maria, for you, go to a shop where they have tarot decks and see which one your body is saying yes,
Yes.
Because it's a friend, you take you have with you, and to accompany you as you have big questions for your life and doubts and things you would like to get more clarity on. So the deck is kind of like, will become your friend.
Okay, cool. I'm going to do that. All right, cool. And then I'm going to learn with you. Awesome. You're probably gonna laugh. Yeah, I know you're not, but you are actually someone who can laugh, because I know that, for you it's like a friendly laugh. But yeah, it's so funny when I sit there with like pro deck readers and I'm like, no, can we swap cards? And it's like this, and friends go like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I like this. Oh, I want this. So yes, I'm looking forward to that. Awesome. And Sophie, I know you said that we're going to have maybe time for one little extra reading. I was thinking so, because I don't know. I was actually thinking maybe I can ask around online friends, and then see what comes up. Otherwise, I would just have to make one up on the spot, and I'm not sure if that's one that it's actually concerning the audience as well. So I don't know. What do you say? Shall we just, just pick one and do it, just a little practice, or do it the next time?
No, I'm definitely open for that. That you can ask around what they would like to know, and we can pick a question that's is most recurring, no, to answer that one.
Yeah. Yes.
And we can also pick one card now of what is a message to take home after this conversation of
Yes.
today. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just shuffling the cards.
Okay.
Did you maybe hear?
Oh, I love that. It's always such a surprise. I love it. It's like a birthday when you unpack something, It's like, are you also a fan of just wrapping up stuff to unpack it because it brings you joy?
Wrapping up stuff to just unpack it.
Yes, and then I put it somewhere, and then I look at it, and then we have a word for it. It's called Vorfreude, so it's a pre-happiness, and then you actually get to unpack it and enjoy it. And I'm a great fan of that. I love it, and it's what you are doing is doing this pre-happiness. It's like we're getting there, It's just like, oh yes, let's go.
I like it. So you're actually enjoying that you're not picking the cards by your eyes, but blind now.
Yeah, now it's like full on surprise. Let's go.
So, okay. So a little message for all of us now, for us having the conversation today, is the 7 of Pentacles, which is the element of earth. So it has to do with the more material side of our lives, with our work. So what is it that you're currently working on that you actually have invested a lot of time in? A lot of your time, a lot of your attention. So probably there is a lot of you that are actually listening that you maybe feel like, when am I finally going to reap the benefits of all that time and energy that I have been investing? No? So we can see here also how he's looking at the bush of like, okay, when are there going to be fruits? When am I going to earn my money with it? When am I going to get easier? And the 7 of Pentacles is not an easy card because it's challenging, because it teaches us to have patience, but to really trust that what we have planted, that the energy we put into it, the love and the care is the right investment to grow. But things we will only, like every fruit has its time for when it can be picked, every season, and, some people, they plant sunflowers. So they have it in August, but somebody else, they plant marigolds, so they have it twice a year. And some other people, they plant trees, so if you plant an apple tree, it will take you a couple of years of love and dedication to take care of the tree in order before you have apples. So this is very much a card of like, maybe you can even think about like, what is that business or what is that I am working on that I'm putting so much time and energy on, and to what element of nature can I compare it? Maybe it comes up a flower or a fruit or a tree or a bush or whatever, which can give you a bit of an indication of how much patience you need to have. But I think most of us need to have quite a lot of patience for this to be really growing. So in one sense, it could be a bit uncomfortable, because it's not like, wow, now is the time. But on the other moment, this card is saying like, keep going, keep caring, keep tending to your garden, keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing great.
I don't know about you all guys, but it's definitely 100% correct for me. Literally.
And for me.
Oh my God.
Also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Ay. Yes, but it is so true what you said. And it actually helps me. Like it doesn't make the situation better immediately, but it actually helps to put it into perspective. As you said, a little flower blooms faster than the fruit tree. That's just what it is. Like the day you plant the seed is not the same day you just harvest the fruit. But it's annoying sometimes. It's annoying when you see others like, having like fast success, and it's cool for them, but it's just for me sometimes like, oh, when is it coming? When can I, it's like this. But as you said, like I'm just on a different journey. Like the project I'm working on is just more complex than just maybe one quick success. So
Yeah, and
it doesn't, again,
it's
it
not
doesn't.
even only related to what you do as your project, of what the content of it is. No, because for that, of course, there is a momentum for it to be more successful, but there is also us as a person. So what we're doing, I see it like basically we're here in life to grow as a soul, to grow, and the experiences we have are in favor for our growth. So, like if you have a business that immediately becomes a success, that has a consequence of certain experiences. If you have a business and it takes a lot of time, there is also a consequence of experiences and that influence you. There's also, are you ready already for that success? Or is there something that still needs to be tended inside of ourselves, before you can really hold that? So it's definitely has to do also with not only necessary, like, the creativity we put out, and that what we share has more to do with the inner work we have than what we think. It
Mm.
has more to do of what needs to shift inside of ourselves than really what we're sharing with the world, actually. So
Yeah.
as we go through the challenges and as we are patiently tending to our projects and to our businesses,
Yes.
we can see like, okay, how is this actually moving me, because also thanks to all the perseverance in order to bring it forward, like what virtues do we build up inside of ourselves, no? Having to keep on going and not losing faith and not getting the confirmation from the outside world that this is the right track. Well, then you really have to trust yourself that this is the right track, and you have to really keep on going and to really trust, like, yeah, but I know that this is where I want to go. So I mean, that's, for example, a great
Mm.
gift when the outside world does not confirm that this is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, true. And sometimes it's just not meant to be because there is more. That is also what I've learned along the way, where I was so sad, like, oh no, I have to, let that go. But then it comes around just in a complete different setup, and different, but also bigger. So that's where I'm also like, I know sometimes all the little things I had to let go. I know that I needed them to just, I needed to let them go in peace so I can move on to the next chapter of my journey. And then when
Yeah.
you look back, like in Cape Town, you know the story where I was so sad that I couldn't stay there, and I wouldn't have met you guys. I would not have been or lived in Spain and all of that. And I know Cape Town would have been amazing too, but life just had different plans for me. It wanted me to, move on, to see more, to explore more, to learn more. Now I see it. But in that moment, I was like heartbroken, like, why me? Well, I was needed elsewhere, so now I know. But in the moment, it did not make any sense. So, yeah, journey.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing you live again. Awesome. I'm so excited. So excited for it. Okay, before we leave, can you just quickly mention your Instagram channel so we find you?
My Instagram is so Muuse, SO and then MUUSE.
Perfect. I will also
That's it.
link it in the description box. So, what can I say? Thank you so much for joining today and for sharing your gift with us, and for bringing also these really nice examples, because I'm a girl, I always need examples, and now I can actually for real use them in our daily lives and not in some fairy tale world. Thank you so much. And also for our listeners out there, if you liked it, please visit Sophie's Instagram channel, follow her, give her a like. If you liked our episode as well, depending, are you tuning in from YouTube? Follow us, like us, comment. If you also want a part two of us and have a question, a specific one, let me know. And also on Spotify, it really helps us out if you can just give us 5 stars and follow along. Thank you guys as always. Sophie, thank you so much. And I really hope
Thank
we are meeting again for a second part. I would love that.
I hope so too. And thank you so much. It's really wonderful, everything what you're sharing and with this podcast. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you back on the island.
Yes, very, very soon. All right, guys. Mwah. Thanks for joining. I will see you in the next one. Thank you, Sophie. I will see you live soon.
Bye
Bye.
bye.